So, going on to the next big news this week, and close to Leigh Petrelli's heart as an Arsenal fan in Dam. I can see why you like Ajax. Is the transfer of Ivory Coast international Pepe for a fee of reportedly £70 million. Nicolas Pepe is, has had an outstanding season last year. Played, I was talking about left wing, he was playing on the left wing for Lille, came up with an impressive 22 goals and 11 assists. He looks a player last year, but as we know, League 1 can be a deceiving league. Seen the likes of Malcolm trying to make it a Barcelona and he hasn't had success. Lesser names like Clinton NG and George Nkudu, who are both NG didn't make it at Spurs. So career at Marseille when he went back, and Nkudu as well is trying to find a new club from what we're hearing. Pepe, £70 million for one good season. Let's be honest. What do you think of the transfer fee, and is he going to change Arsenal's fortunes for next season?
No, great question. Well, first of all, apparently it's £72 million. So they say. But I digress. Yes, League One can be quite deceptive, but in every potential reward, you have to take a risk. So, there's some risk involved. So we can look back at players like the players you've mentioned, in Chile, Kudu. If I haven't got his name right, my apologies. Or we can look at Spurs' record signing, in Dombele. I believe, they're playing in the same league. I don't know how many seasons he was at the top in League, but, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I've only really seen him on the scene for at least 2 years. So, there's always some risk. We have many players that haven't made it, but then you have the ones that seem to take the Premier League in their stride. So, I believe it's a risk. I don't think in this age we live in, prices are a true reflection of a player's talent. In more cases, it might be agent fees, or not necessarily agent fees, sorry, pardon me. It might be more potential as opposed to, the product at the time. But that said, you've known me for quite a while now. In as much as I am an Arsenal fan, I am a realist first and a football fan. So I try to look at it objectively. He could flop, yes, that is true. But on the other hand, he could really be what Arsenal need in terms of that final piece to the attack. I say this because the player we're talking about here, yes, he was the best player at Leo, and yes, he was for one season, but it's his style of play. And in a team like Arsenal, free-flowing football, there was this thing missing last year, and I have to admit it was that Alexis Sanchez factor, that player that could just pick up the ball and try and run at people, or not just run, like, with all due respect, not like Iwobi, who is my countryman, frustrates me sometimes, but he's one of our own, and I have to try and back the kid. But unlike Iwobi, we're talking about a player that actually has natural dribbling ability.
Yeah.
Iwobi does dribble, but Pepe has this extra silky moves to his game, and being that he's left-footed, it's an interesting addition. I have to say, I'm carefully and quietly confident, because this kid might really do some big things, and it's not just the player; it's his effect on the other players around him.
Yeah,
So a player like that brings Aubameyang to life. A player that really brings Ozil to life. He wakes up like a dead. He's a player that could drag other players away from him, take away pressure. So, I'll be honest, I think people really need to watch out for Pepe this season. And if not this season, then the next. There's always, like I said, the potential that he might not do as well. But I'm quietly confident just because he's definitely what Arsenal have lacked since Alexis, or I would even say Cazorla as a player.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm really excited. There are other parts of Arsenal that need to be addressed. But I really think even if they didn't sign any centre backs, I think they could really go into the season. Perhaps one fullback would be okay, but yeah, I'm quietly confident.
Okay. I mean, the only reason I bring up the question of the transfer fee, I mean, obviously, any outstanding talent is going to cost in excess of 50, 60 million pounds nowadays. But the reason why I ask is that it was reported that Arsenal didn't have that much money to spend. Again, reported that the 70 million is spread out over 5 years. But it's not just the money; it's the fact that Pepe has never played European competition before. He's been a professional footballer since 2012, and he's only really blown up the last year. Now, the season before Galtier came in and replaced Bielsa, he was playing centre forward, had a regular season at 13 goals in the season that Lille just about survived relegation. Galtier came in, brought in some older heads like Jose Fonte, brought a bit of steel into that Lille team, reminding me a lot of that Leicester City team that won the Premier League. And Pepe was shifted from centre forward to out on the wings, which is a revelation given how well he played. Lille ended up finishing second place, qualifying for the Champions League. Obviously, you brought up Ndombele. Ndombele has been very successful with the French team, and also was very impressive in the Champions League. So there is also always a risk of these things not coming out. But personally speaking, I think it's a massive risk. I mean, he looked fantastic last season. But again, it's been one good year. And I keep referring to Malcolm as a perfect example. This time last year, so many clubs were after him. He was talked about a lot for months about leaving Bordeaux. He finally did it. Didn't make an impression in Barcelona, given it is very difficult to do that, especially with a team like Barca. I was very surprised to see him move on a £40 million transfer to Zenit. I would have thought a loan or something would have been sufficient, but he's actually gone completely. So that's the only reason why I bring this up with Pepe, in my opinion, is because someone compared the Pepe deal to Gervinho, and obviously the comparisons with the Lille connection. They're both from Ivory Coast. They're both wingers. And if you look at their records, they're actually very similar in terms of games played and goals scored and things like that. I think this is completely different because Gervinho was much more established when he came over to Arsenal. Pepe, in my opinion, again, relatively new, had experiences. I mean, you can't see the screen right now, but I've got stats from Pepe, who was playing pretty much non-league football. Well, yeah, non-league football up until about 2 years ago. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see how he gets on. But touching on what you've just said there, Arsenal spending 70 million on a winger when in fact their defence seems to be the main problem. What do you feel about that? Do you think you needed Pepe, or was one or two additions in the back line needed?
Yeah, I think we definitely needed a player like Pepe. That's for sure. I do understand there is a risk, but I'll also say, I mean, regardless of whether he's played at the highest level, well, in comparison to other players, I mean, you can look at Jamie Vardy, for example. There's certain players that just have this extra hunger, and I see that in Pepe. Now, time will obviously tell, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. In regards to, sorry, what was the question?
The back four.
The back four. My apologies. In regards to the back four, this is a very interesting part of Arsenal's story, because sometimes it's not even necessarily the defenders. I think it's that attitude. Because Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, sometimes they could be a bit of a car crash, but their attitude can't be faulted.
True. That is true, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the players, it's the attitude. And some of these things still stem back from the latter parts of the Wenger years. I'm a big Arsene Wenger fan, but at the same time, even before the whole Wenger out brigade, I was calling things, I'm sure you remember, way back, things I used to identify and say, there's no discipline at Arsenal. There was just no discipline. You saw that with Wilshere, we saw it with Ramsey. People could moan and cry about losing Ramsey, but the truth of the matter is, he played under a manager during a series of years where there was no real discipline, there was no direction. So players like that could come in and just, not necessarily take the ball by the horns, because the players around them aren't serious, or the coach isn't serious, or the board isn't don't really care. Right now, because of where Arsenal are trying to be, I really think Pepe is what they need. Now, in terms of the defense, if we can get real defensive coaches in, I think we should be okay. I mean, Touchwood, obviously, Holden had the injury, but he's back now. Chambers and Holden, I see that as a brilliant English partnership. And I don't want to sound biased, but I love having two English defenders in my team. Like, I think the whole back line should always be English. If that's just me, it doesn't. That's not to say anyone should do that. Whatever, it's equal opportunities. It's a beautiful league and it's welcoming. But there's something about having two English centre backs, and I think Arsenal might actually have a little bit of a solution lying under their noses if they look closely. They have Chambers and Holden that could pay off. Socrates is a bit rash, but he's a great wily defender. He's an old school rugged defender. So Mustafi, yes, he has a mistake in him, but I also think that's down to coaching. If they could coach him properly, then get defensive drills in, they'll be fine. They also have the kid Mavropanos coming up and Saliba for next year, which I think was a brilliant deal.
Just touching on that, was it a good deal though? Was it a good idea to buy him and then loan him back?
Most definitely. As in, if you look at the situation you're in as a club. So recently, I mean, over the last few years, Arsenal just used to make decisions. Like, they would sign Mesut Ozil, who I love, but they wouldn't have a striker he could supply. That's no disrespect to Giroud. It's a well-known secret that Suarez was meant to be the player to come through with Ozil, and the recruitment team obviously made a great job of that with the £1 on top of the 40 million. That said, yes, it was a great deal with Saliba, because if Arsenal tried to go for Saliba, let's say next year or in 2 years, they couldn't afford him. He probably wouldn't come to us, and we're not really guaranteed Champions League. So what Arsenal have done is identified a player who, and obviously I have to say great credit to the recruitment team or scouting team, because they've identified a player who they believe will be a top centre back. He has all the makings of a top centre back, and they thought, okay, he's 18. I would never want an 18-year-old, 19-year-old player to come from France to start at Arsenal. That's no disrespect. I'm not buying that. The Arsenal, for me, or any top 4, top 5 club, it would have to be like the Ligt at least. And then it's obvious to see that the Ligts go to the Juventuses or the Barcelonas. So what Arsenal have done is, in about 2 years or a year's time, he would be like the Ligt, which is what we're thinking. So we're like, okay, let's stay ahead of the game, sign the player, and to even sweeten the deal, let him stay at the club where he's comfortable, where he's learning. For me, it was a beautiful deal. I mean, I think the uproar is because it seems unorthodox in terms of the approach. Like, oh, you need centre-backs, why are you loaning them back? But then you have to say hindsight is a gift that is very rare. And for once, Arsenal seem to be actually employing some hindsight. So I think it's great. Like, you think about it, even if you were Saliba, you don't want to just up and leave your home. But unfortunately, we just look at it like the game. Like, oh, why is he not playing now? Football doesn't work like that. It's that's that English thing we always do that gets the Rashfords and the Oxlade-Chamberlains after one season on a plane. Like, that's what Arsenal are not doing. That's something that should really be applauded. But time will tell, I guess.
It's interesting you actually say that, because I was just, while you were talking, I was just thinking, at Spurs we have had a very similar situation a couple of years ago. After a successful Under-20 World Cup, we signed Juan Foyth, and he's come on leaps and bounds, and only this summer he represented Argentina as the regular right back.
He was a great player, by the way. Very impressive.
But I mean, fair enough. When he first came that first season, he didn't really play much. He did play, but not a lot. Second season, he knew the team, got to know his teammates, knew the tactics, knew how Pochettino worked, had a good pre-season, and had, in my opinion, a good season for someone of his age and his stature in regards to his status in the team. So it's funny that you say that obviously that the Saliba guy goes back there. Given that you guys Arsenal have the problem in defence, I thought it was strange that you loaned him back. Obviously, if it was the only way that Arsenal were going to get him was to loan him back, then fair enough. Because as you say, if he has an amazing season next year, that price tag is only going to go up. But I did think it was interesting that he wasn't brought in as, let's say, the third choice or fourth choice centre back.
That could also, but that could also hinder his development. A player like that at that age needs to play.
True, but then going back to League One could also hinder his development. Well, if Saint Etienne get relegated, then that wouldn't be a very good season, regardless of.
But I don't see that happening.
Of course, I'm just obviously talking.
No,
But yeah, no, I mean, great signing, good for you. Hopefully next season it'll work. Ceballos as a player that's coming from Real Madrid for Arsenal, I love that guy. He's a fantastic talent. I've always enjoyed watching him ever since I saw him playing for Real Betis as a teenager. Big player. Very surprised that he's gone on loan to Arsenal. I'm surprised you weren't able to strike a deal. I know Spurs are also interested, and they pulled out because they couldn't strike a deal. And he seems intent on having his career at Real Madrid, given that he's been there 3 seasons now, and it hasn't really kicked off for him. I think it's a great signing, but is the loan a problem? Is it gonna hinder you next year when you have to replace him?
I would like to believe that wouldn't be the case. I'll be honest. I didn't watch him as much as other people have, but I've heard rave reviews. What I've seen of him is decent, but then it's a loan signing, so it's like I said, it's more the attitude as opposed to the ability. If he's thinking in the back of his mind, I'm not really gonna be here. Obviously, that translates on the pitch. If he plays as a professional, that could only be great for Arsenal and obviously for himself, regardless of if he stays at Madrid or if he goes to another club. If things go well, I did hear that there is something of a gentleman's agreement between Raul Sanelli and Fiorentino Perez that they will be discussing of obviously signing Ceballos permanently at the end of his loan deal. Now, that said, Real Madrid is a great club, but then it's a recruitment team's dream, because if you really play your cards right, you can get the right players that Real Madrid don't really acknowledge or recognize because, there's so many mitigating factors being a starter or player at Real Madrid. I'm sure we're both aware of this. They've had, I remember the time they had Huntelaar, Schneider, and Robin, and all three left in a year. I remember, it was come on, what is going on here? So,
yeah,
so I think it could only be good for Arsenal, but it all relies on Ceballos' attitude. If he plays his best, regardless of what happens at Madrid, he knows, he could have a great season at Arsenal, which is what I'm hoping. And then at the end, Madrid might want it, but then he might look back and think, I've been here for about 3 years, never been able to get into the team, and the truth is you might replace me with the next Galactico, because there's no reason why they should be going for Pogba, when really Ceballos would probably play with more heart, and that's no disrespect to Pogba. Ceballos would probably be more hungry than Pogba to shine, but if he does well at Arsenal, the fans love him and things kick on, he might just actually stay. So I think it was a great signing. There was this rumor or this obviously thing going around about the loan fee was 17 million. I find that ridiculous, but I'm not disputing it probably was a higher fee, but I doubt Arsenal paid 17 million for a player on loan. And I find it very rich that it comes from the same journalists who were touting that we only had 45 million to spend. And yeah, it's just weird that whenever it comes to Arsenal, it seems like our transfers are some illegal move, or first they tout this figure. It didn't come from the club, obviously, but it seems to be going around, the well-known journalists. So, we'll have to take these things with a pinch of salt. I just definitely hope Ceballos plays as a top professional, and it's a hard league to make it in. So if it goes well, then at least he holds the cards. And if he's a great player and we like him, I hope he stays at Arsenal. Fulfills what he's been missing in terms of not getting started playing time at Real Madrid.
I'm excited to see Ceballos play in the Premier League. Fortunately, it's with your lot. But
you've got some great players, man. You've got some great players.
yeah, we have. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next season in terms of Ceballos. But going back on that media thing, you're completely right. This time of season, it's silly news, fake news, whatever news. Let's make things up. I think I read a report today. I think it was Bruno Fernandes. The Sun had reported that Sport, the media company, I think they're a newspaper, a website. Sorry, the report that Sport were going to, was saying that Fernandes was going to United, and then it turns out the Sport said that the Sun reported it. So fake news flying all the way around. No one's actually claiming the news. But yeah, I mean that's social media and 2019 football these days.